Hey everybody! So Halloween is over and spooky season is done. But luckily for you guys, spooky season is every season for me. So I have compiled a list of 11 horror movies that you probably missed. So if you're like me and you're still longing for some spooky horror flicks to watch, go ahead and sit back and I'm going to give you a list of 11 horror movies you probably haven't seen. Alright, number 1, we have a movie called House LLC. This movie came out in 2015. During the opening night of a haunted house tour, an unexplained malfunction causes the death of 15 people. 5 years later, with the events of that night still shrouded in mystery, a film documentary crew visits the scene of the tragedy to investigate what actually happened that night. So what to love about this movie is honestly just how creepy it actually is. For how simplistic this film is. It's a found footage film, but don't let that scare you away. It's actually very effectively scary and very creepy and very spooky. So don't miss out. Number 2, we have a movie called The Hallow. This movie also came out in 2015. A family moves to a remote house in a forest in Ireland. Shortly after, they start to notice strange occurrences and soon find themselves in a fight for survival against a demonic creature living in the woods. So what I really love about this movie is, for one, it's a creature feature. I don't know about you, but for me, monsters, creatures, and horror films, that's my absolute favorite. This movie is also shot really well. It's directed extremely well. It's acted very well. And it actually is very creepy. And another fun thing is you actually do want to see these characters succeed, which in a horror movie, if you don't care about the characters, what's really the point? So if you want to get a little bit spooked out, check it out. Marrowbone. This movie came out in 2017. 4 siblings living in rural Maine are plagued by a sinister presence in their home. This movie stars Charlie Heaton and Anya Taylor-Joy, and both these actors also played in a movie called The New Mutants, which you probably heard of, and a lot of you probably didn't see. I'm going to give a disclaimer for this film real fast. It is definitely not the scariest film on here. If you're someone that doesn't do horror really well, or you want to watch a horror film with somebody that is a big scaredy cat, this is a great movie for somebody that doesn't do horror very well. The movie still is done extremely well, and the characters and the story are engaging enough to where you do actually want to see what happens and how everything transpires. The Monster. So this movie came out in 2016. While driving through rural forest roads, a mother and her young daughter break down. While waiting for help, they discover there's something stalking them from the surrounding forest. Like I said, I really love monsters, and this movie has a monster in it, so right there I'm just like kind of gleeful, as you can tell. If you missed out on this movie and you like monster films, you really need to watch it. This is definitely a hidden, like a little horror hidden gem. You should really check it out. Next up, we have a movie called Open Grave. A man wakes up in a hole full of dead bodies with no memory of who he is or how he got there. His rescuers are also suffering from amnesia. The group tries to find a way out of the surrounding forest and also tries to regain their memories. I would probably classify this movie more as like kind of thriller, like horror, thriller, mystery. But it's definitely still spooky, and a lot of people miss this film, and I really think people need to give it a chance. I guess it came out to some pretty bad reviews, but I think maybe people should give it another shot. Now I'm going to take you back all the way to 2002, and this movie is called Dog Soldiers. If you missed this movie, it is one of the best werewolf movies ever. And I'm just gonna tell you, it's soldiers versus werewolves. That's pretty much it. And you might look it up and think, oh, this movie looks like some corny B movie. It's not. There's a lot more to it than just that. I'm not gonna say it's like gonna be winning like the best movie in the world award or anything like that. but it's just 100% a fun action, horror, werewolf, soldiers movie. So if you're looking for something fun, yeah, you should definitely watch this. Next one we have is a movie that came out on Netflix in 2021, but this movie is called No One Gets Out Alive, and it reminds me a little bit of The Ritual. It follows a girl without documentation from Mexico moves into a rundown Cleveland boarding house. There she begins experiencing unexplained and terrifying occurrences. This movie is really, really creepy, and it's actually, whoever directed it, they directed it really well. I don't think it's as good as The Ritual, so it's definitely not my favorite movie on here, but that is more so with maybe the story and stuff, but not the actual scares, because the scares actually are done extremely well. This movie's on Netflix, so go check it out if you want. Another movie you may have missed is a movie called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. A coroner and his son conduct an autopsy on a mysterious Jane Doe murder victim and start to piece together terrifying and bizarre clues. This movie has Emile Hirsch in it. I really like Emile Hirsch. I think he's a really good actor. It's very effectively creepy and scary. If you're looking for something to creep you out, this will definitely do it. All right, Identity. Identity is a movie that came out in 2003. It stars John Cusack and Amanda Peet. 10 strangers get stranded together at a desolate motel during a rainstorm. The strangers soon realize there is a murderer amongst the group, and the survivors must solve the mystery and discover the killer before it's too late. This is kind of my wild card movie because I feel a little weird recommending it, because there is kind of a huge trope in this film that I feel like some people will have a problem with. But to me, I feel like it really works. Have a really stellar cast. It's acted really well. And I think the mystery is really set up extremely well. I think it's just a really enjoyable film. And the trope in here, I think, actually does work. It rarely works, but I think it does work in this film. So my last two, I feel like they're kind of cheating because they're definitely movies that you've probably heard of. They're not that underrated, but I want to talk about them anyways because if for some reason you have missed them, you really, really should not be missing out on these horror films. His House. A refugee couple, having just escaped the war-torn South Sudan, find themselves struggling to settle into their new life in England. This is escalated when they discover something sinister is haunting them. This movie has one of the most effectively scary scenes I have ever seen. I never close my eyes during horror movies. It's like a point of pride for me. But I really, really wanted to cover my eyes during this movie because I was just, it really got me. If for some reason, if you have missed this, which you probably haven't, I think it was #1 on Netflix for a while. But if for some reason you have, there's a reason why it has such good reviews and you really, really need to watch it. You need to check it out. And this one is definitely a cheat because I know for a fact that this movie did not do badly. But if you missed it, you'll have to give it a try. And it's the movie The Ritual. While hiking through the Scandinavian wilderness, 4 college friends get stalked by an ancient evil. This is one of the creepiest movies. It's one of probably my favorite Netflix movies. Probably The Ritual and His House, probably. Those two are probably my favorites. I probably like this one a little more than His House. So if for some reason you haven't seen this horror movie and you love horror movies, I don't know what you're waiting for or why you missed it. You need to check it out. Alright guys, so that was just my little quick list of horror films that you may have missed. But let me know what you guys think. If any of you guys end up watching one of these films and end up really liking it, I would love to hear about it. If you end up watching one of them and think it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen, I guess you could let me know too. Or you could just not talk to me. If you guys have any movies you would like me to watch, if you have a list of some horror movies, go ahead and comment, like, or subscribe, or share this video if you would like to see more videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Just keep watching movies, guys, and keep being happy.